Joining us now, actor and Academy Award-winning director Mel Gibson, an old friend, a Malibu resident who tragically just lost his home to the Palisades Fire. Mel, I was thinking about you when I saw this fire break out. I think I talked to Raymond. I said, is Mel okay? Is his family okay? I instantly thought of you. He said he thought you were okay. And I'm glad you got out. I'm glad your family is safe. But tell us what it was like to be on Rogan's podcast when I guess you learned that your home had been lost.
Well, yeah,
I didn't learn it was lost. I knew the neighborhood was on fire, then I was in the path. So I was a little tense while I talked to Joe, but he's a guy that can put you at your ease fairly well. So I was doing okay. And I knew that Mel, my family was safe and out of harm's way. Were you able to get possessions that, of course, are really immaterial when you have your family, but I've been to your house. It was an incredible home, beautiful home. But were you able to get anything out of your house? Not much. A few necessary things. You know, my son I said, just go and grab this and this and this. And he grabbed like 3 things and took off. And then, you know, those are okay. Stuff like passports and a couple of papers.
Yeah, I remember he was on Joe Rogan while that was happening. He even commented on it. He even talked about how his son was messaging him literally videos of stuff being on fire. And so to see this wreckage here is, yeah, it's wild, to say the least. And what's even more wild is you won't believe what he actually said and what he just revealed about the California wildfires there in LA. Hints of deliberate arson, perhaps water supply sabotage, and hidden agendas. I'm not saying these are it, but if they are, this is big. And if they're not, then okay, well, simply just dismiss them. But the question really is, could these shocking claims actually be true? Because if they are, what does it mean for us, for the community, and for the truth behind these disasters? Because a lot of information is going around right now. But what is the truth? That's what we want to get right in the heart of in this video right here. And what he says is pretty shocking. So let's dive into the details. I want to know what you guys think, what you guys have heard. Please comment down below because I've been digging into this information, but I want to hear it from you guys as well. So stick around until the end to join the conversation on this potentially quite explosive revelation.
Stuff like that. But by and large, everything was just, it looked, when I got there the other day, I went up there yesterday, it looked like Dresden, you know, after Bomber Harris got through with it. Yeah. Mel, so nothing left. For those of us watching this from afar, try to convey to us the feeling of seeing your home, your neighbors' homes, and the community there at such a loss. I mean, it's tragic. It makes you really sad. I was actually, you know, there are neighbors I have that I was actually looking at them. I felt worse for them than I did for myself. You know, I look at it as a strange mixture of sadness and almost kind of an elation in a sense that I count my blessings, you know, no matter what. These are things, and they may or may not be replaceable, but they're only things, and we're still here, and I just kind of look at it as almost in a weird kind of way a purification but of course it's very sad, and there were many things, you know, gone in the blaze that you know, I've thought about since. I thought, oh damn, you know, that's too bad. But you know, works of art, photographs, rare books, you know, old books. Some as old as, you know, 1600, you know, it's like crazy.
1600.
And irreplaceable stuff, yeah. So it is what it is, I guess. It was only a month ago that the flames threatened us, you know, 200 meters away on the other side. And of course the wind shifted and it came in and whipped and got us from the other direction. So it was an interesting...
game.
Yeah. You've heard
Watch out for this.
Go on.
You know, both, you know, you've heard a lot of people say a lot of things about these fires. Obviously, the winds were horrific, but they were predicted. I know you know that last weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they said this could be tragic with these winds if any fire starts.
Sure.
Do you believe in what you know so far, anything could have happened like this?
Yeah, well, one always suspects that this might happen, but one thinks that the resources, you know, and the capabilities of the men and women will be on standby, that they'll be able to cope with any situation that comes up. But apparently, some people were asleep on the job, mainly our leaders there. But you know, that's something they have to live with. And but that's something that community has to live with, and it's really sad. I mean, I have many friends that are, you know, looking for a place to put a roof over their heads, and kids, and you know, they're traumatized. So, someone should answer for it, but we'll see. I think we know who the culprits are. In fact, my son was he's a member of the volunteer fire brigade. He sort of interfaces between LA County Fire and people, and they assist them where they can during, before, and after the blaze. And apparently the residents in Corral Canyon caught an arsonist up there. And the guy was all tooled up with fire gear and equipment and stuff like that, and ready to go. And he had been lighting fires, but they corralled the guy in Corral Canyon and gave him to the...
Well, okay, let's talk about this, because this is big. He recounts a story where a person was actually allegedly caught with fire starting equipment. And this is from his son, who's a volunteer there. So could this suggest that this individual might have been involved in sparking the fire? Now, who is this individual? And this narrative really taps into the historical contemporary fears of arson during wildfires. Because some people could say, oh, well, it just started, or was this intentionally started? Especially in areas prone to natural disasters like California. And he said just recently, there was a fire breakout literally 200 meters away. And so the fact that this person was not charged is probably fueling this conspiracy theory, because it raises questions about the integrity, or at least the completeness of the investigation, especially in an area where it's prone for that fire. So in these types of conspiracy narratives, this could be interpreted as either a cover-up or evidence that the person might have been acting under some kind of sanction or protection. This is where this is going, right? I'm not saying that this is what's happening. I'm asking. And I mean, arson in wildfires like this is not uncommon. So fires are indeed started deliberately, either by individuals or malicious intent, or accidentally, and the lack of charges could be due to the insufficient evidence, maybe legal complexities, maybe, or other investigative issues. But at least in conspiracy lore, it's going to be seen as a sign of a possibly orchestrated malfeasance. And we'll go into the mismanagement. He'll say something else here that's actually quite striking. And pay attention, because it's kind of very subtle in a sense. And, you know, that's what's kind of eerie. Obviously, he doesn't want to out anybody, but it is very subtle. So pay attention.
The police. So
yeah, apparently that
actively going around looking for these conditions. Yeah. Yeah,
apparently, Mel, that individual was never charged. It's a very confusing set of facts, because apparently he was reportedly trying to light things on fire, but it's not the fires, I guess, that they... I mean, it all seems very bizarre, but they have not ruled out that arson could have started the first fire. There's obviously still investigating this, and at the same time, Mel, there are numerous complaints, as you alluded to, that the fire hydrants did not have water or water pressure, and the LA fire chief herself reacted. Watch this.
My stance on this is, when a firefighter comes up to a hydrant, we expect there's going to be water. We don't control the water supply. Our firefighters are there to protect lives and property, and to make sure that we're properly trained and equipped. That's my position on this. So if there's no water, I don't know how the water gets to the hydrants.
Whoa. Okay, that's the LA fire chief. So if there's mismanagement or sabotage of the water supply, that's another kind of thing that's going around. And the absence of water in the fire hydrants, that's huge, right? And this is the LA fire chief saying this. This isn't just some random person. This is the LA fire chief. So is this mere oversight, or is this intentional? And those are the questions that are going around. This idea aligns with kind of the broader questions and the theories about government insufficiency, corruption, crisis management, or lack thereof. And if this is true, it would imply a scenario where resources critical for combating the fire were compromised either through negligence or deliberate action or to worsen the situation. Who knows, right? Those are the questions that we have. But these all link to all the theories that are going around right now. And even Mel Gibson is saying it. This is Fox News, right? So they're going to go into land acquisition, manipulation of property. And yeah, I mean, water supply issues during wildfires can occur, definitely, because since there's high demand or system failures, but are there contingencies to these things? And or is it part of some larger plan, right? That the fire can exasperate. Okay, so we're going to go into what he thinks about this. So listen up, because there, again, it's going to hint to another thing.
Mel, reaction to that?
Well, I know they were messing with the water.
Wow.
Letting reserves go for one reason or another. They've been doing that a while.
Whoa.
California has a lot of problems that sort of baffle the mind as far as why they do things. And then in the events like this, you sort of look, well, is it on purpose? Which it's an insane thing to think.
Yeah.
But one begins to ponder whether or not there is a purpose in mind. What could it be? I don't know. Do they want the state empty? I don't know.
Well, Mel, there's already talk, and we played a couple of sound bites of reimagining the way rebuilding occurs. And obviously there's a great need for high-density housing in California and across the country. That's a big push by the climate folks. And you're already hearing rumblings of that.
Wow.
In this case, like goodbye single-family homes, hello high-density housing.
What?
Yeah. It's pretty scary, and it'll take decades to do that too. It's like even if it if it's a good idea, which I don't know if it is, but reminds me of the old cattle barons clearing people off the land, But I don't know. I can make all kinds of horrible theories up in my head, conspiracy theories and everything else, but it just seemed a little convenient that there was no water, and and that the wind conditions were right, and that there are people ready and willing and able to start fires. And are they commissioned?
Wow. So there you go. That's Mel Gibson saying that. He's talking about how it's convenient. So, I mean, really speculating on the motives, land clearance. And then this is Fox News talking about this. Land clearance for development or altering land use. Is this one of those things? Like, okay, well, we need that land, burn it down. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm questioning whether that is, right? Because, I mean, Mel Gibson himself is drawing a comparison into historical land grabs here, right? He's like, it reminds me of this, suggesting, is this a modern version that might be at play with the fires providing convenient means? Okay, I'm not saying this is happening, but is it possible? And so at least the theory is going to suggest that fires could be a tool for urban planning or economic gain orchestrated by those with interest in real estate or environmental policy or what have you. And it's a question whether natural disasters are being exploited for political or economic needs, right? I think that's a valid question that everybody needs to be asking, because this is huge. And I think even a few days later, the fires are still going on. So California is going to have some ongoing debates about housing density, environmental regulations, and land use. That is huge in California, especially in fire-prone areas. And so these theories are emerging when there's significant gaps between public policy outcomes and public expectation, or when major changes are proposed, who's against those proposals, right? So yeah, this is big. And then he's going to go into, it's not over yet, because he's going to go into two more things. So stay with us here.
And to do so, or are they just acting on their own volition? I don't know, but they seem pretty well equipped. Some of these people that they're catching.
A lot of questions. A lot of questions, Mel. Mel, a message tonight.
Yeah, I'll sift through the remains of my place and see if I can find any clues for you.
Mel, any message from you to Governor Newsom or Karen Bass tonight?
Spend less on hair gel.
Oh my! Oh my God!
That's it. What can I say?
That's what, you gotta adore Mel Gibson. He's a legend. He's coming out with this movie, Resurrection, The Passion of the Christ. He goes against kind of the trend, right? And, possibly leaders being asleep on the job or worse, which implies either, gross negligence, especially for something like this, or deliberate, I don't want to say it, right? But what is the narrative? Are authorities incompetent or are they corrupt? That's the question. Because there's only one or the other here. And if authorities are believed to have been acted with intent, which I made a few videos on this, and there's a lot of people commenting on this. So there's a lot of interest in this. It raises questions about motives, linking back to political or economic benefits, or is it just negligence? It's big if it's negligence, on the other hand, because is there systemic failure? But that can still fuel kind of these conspiracy theories, possibly suggesting the hidden agendas. So public trust right now it is low right now. Public trust, it is low in government because in responses like this to natural disasters, a lot of people are going through hardship right now. A lot of people have questions. A lot of people are in pain. When response times, there's this guy made a video, I'll link it down below. This guy actually saved his house. And what he said was, God helped me. He said that the firefighters didn't show up until the next day. There were no firefighters until the next day. And well, that would make sense if the LA chief is saying that we didn't have water in the first place. So yeah, is it this uncharged arsonist? Does he have something to do with it? Who is this guy? Or is it a group of guys? That's going to feed into either information suppression or information manipulation. And I mean, what are the forces at play here? What does the public know? I mean, I think with the advent of YouTube and X and Twitter, Instagram, everything, I mean, information is spreading so fast and the news outlets can't contain it, right? Like CNN just can't contain it. ABC, NBC can't contain it. People are going around, people are talking because this is a hot issue right now. And the complexity of all the, legal proceedings, privacy laws, high profile people involved in this, right? The public is going to demand transparency, and that can clash with the realities of investigation or information dissemination, and it's going to lead to ultimately conspiracy theories because people want to know what's happening now. Like people want to know what is going on. We want to know what is the truth. People want to know the truth. And as we sift through this, so to speak, the ashes, and I love Mel Gibson, he's such a treasure, right? Like the guy can have this sense of humor at this time, just shows of his genius. And as we kind of sift through the ashes, so to speak, of these tragedies, one can't help but ponder a deeper question of life. That is, fires like this one, they take away, of course, what we consider our treasures. But my question to you is, have you considered the treasures that no fire and no disaster can touch? You might ask, well, what are these treasures you're talking about? When Jesus spoke of laying up treasures in heaven, he was pointing towards something eternal. It wasn't something temporary that a fire can take, that a hurricane or a tornado or what have you, natural disaster can take, or that a government can take. In the world where everything seems transient, where even the homes we build can be turned to ashes in an instant, there's a profound comfort in knowing we can invest in what lasts forever. And so you're asking, what is that? What is that thing that can last forever? Well, isn't it remarkable to think that amidst loss, there's an opportunity to embrace a hope that transcends the material? What is that? What is this thing that transcends the material? Well, it's the gospel. The gospel tells us of a love that is on fire, a love that is fierce, a sacrificial love so profound by Jesus that it invites us into a relationship where our worth isn't measured by the possessions, but by being known and loved by the God of the cosmos. And so who is this God of the cosmos? It's Jesus. And in times like these, when everything seems to be falling apart, might we not ask ourselves, where have I placed my trust? Because I can't place my trust in this home. I can't place my trust, maybe even in the government. I can't place my trust in anything. Where is the truth? Where is the truth? And where can I place my trust? And Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He said, he is truth. Because is your trust in fleeting or the eternal? The fires remind us, don't they, that life here can be unpredictable, but the love of God offers stability and for your soul. And friends, isn't it beautiful that through faith, we can invest in relationships, in love, in grace. We can invest in treasures that fire and natural disasters can't take away. This, my friends, is the hope we can cling to, the hope that gives us the courage to rebuild not just our homes, not just our cities, but lives with a perspective that looks beyond the horizon, beyond the temporary, into the eternal. The life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ proves to us that he loves us so much that he went on that cross and died for us so that we could be set free. And that if we receive him by faith, truly we can live a life where our mess turns into a message, our tests into testimonies, and our pain like this into a divine purpose that shows the grace of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.